Hello, welcome everybody. Thank you for joining us on this episode of the Healing Hour podcast. Today we have our guest, Sola, and I just told him I was going to butcher his last name, Koliyosho.
You got it. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
not too bad on my
yeah,
10th try. And he's also a podcaster, and I just want him to tell us a little bit about his own podcast before we dive deep into the Healing Hour.
First of all, I appreciate you for having me very much. But yeah, I'm Sola Colio Show and Big Daddy Everything podcast, the Big Daddy Energy podcast, actually. And we just my boy Jeff and we talk about different topics, things that should help with the life experience for men, and just trying to beautify the world. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, when you say beautify the world, like in which sense?
The world can be ugly because of things like violence and things like just misuse of the women and money and poverty. And I'm a strong believer that if you get the men in order, like if we're in line, then pretty much the world will be a better place.
I like that you say that because I feel like I feel like we're in the midst of like a gender war right now.
Yes.
Um where it's like this blame game that we kind of place on each other as a community,
Right.
like, oh, it's if the women did this, then the men would do that, and if the men did that, then the
Right.
women do this. So your take on that is that if the men were to act accordingly, the women would follow suit, or what do you think?
No, absolutely. And I want to say this with the least amount of simpness as
Okay.
possible, because sometimes you'll have a like more of a simp mindset that's like, yeah, yeah. I'm saying like just for real, just challenging men. Just hey, we have a position to play. Let's play the position. When I think about my coaches when I was growing up, they challenged us as men and they talked to us rough. And so that's where I'm coming from. Like, hey, let's get it together, man.
Okay. So I'm glad we're doing this episode. Season one, I did an episode about the divine feminine. And I feel like not I feel like, but most of my guests previously have been women, even though I'm trying to get more guys on the show to get a different perspective on this whole gender thing.
Let's do it.
Thank you for coming.
Absolutely.
And so let's talk about the divine masculine. Like, that's something that we don't talk about as much as I feel like that's not a hot topic like the divine feminine.
Yeah.
Like, yes, like, in certain circles we talk about the divine feminine and we know our roles and
Right.
we're the portals between life and death. Um we have all this power and things, but we never talk about the male place in
Right.
this because
Right.
there's divinity and masculinity as well.
I appreciate it. Yeah. As a man, I grew up around a bunch of like like other brothers and my father and most of it was just really trying to compete for a space.
Mm.
It's a lot of competition in maleness. And what you'll find is that your mother usually kind of balances everybody out.
Mm.
And so you get a softness. I think I forgot who was saying that. Future said it's because of his grandmother why he treat.
Oh yeah,
You
I
know
love
what
that
I'm
part.
saying? But I agree with that because you gotta, as a man, you gotta stand, you gotta be solid, you gotta hold your ground. But then you gotta have this softness, and because when you have children, you gotta know how to deal with them. When
Mm.
you have a wife, you need to know how to deal with her. So we just gotta stay on top of things, just as a man,
Mhm.
constantly challenging yourself and making yourself to be better and stronger. So
Do you think that women by themselves are capable of raising a man to his fullest potential? This is something me and my friends
yeah,
talk about all the time.
right,
And so, um, something that I found in my previous relationships is the guys I've dated that, lean more towards mom were kind of, I don't want
yeah.
to say
No,
what I want
say
to
it, say
say.
it.
I don't want to say sassy's the word,
Oh yeah, that's been
but
coming
like
up
they
a lot. Yeah,
respond to you as a woman would.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Like, it feels like I'm arguing with one of my homegirls and not my man.
yeah,
And I'm
yeah,
like,
yeah,
and then I have to backtrack. I was like, okay, it's because you don't have a dad.
yeah,
But what do you
yeah.
think? What do you
No,
think about
absolutely.
that?
I had a point on this before. Actually, I spoke on this. It's true that a woman can raise a woman, to her fullest potential, but to raise a man, there's no way because there's different things that we're gonna have to deal with as a man, like choices that we have to make, and even conflict resolution. If you are
Mhm.
only getting it from the perspective of a woman, then you don't know how to step outside of yourself, step outside of your emotion,
Mm.
see it for what it really is, and then make your decision. So yeah, a lot of it's not their fault, obviously, but
Yeah.
a lot of men who are not raised by that masculine edge. That's why I bring up coaches a lot.
Yeah.
Coaches, they stand in the gap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I definitely me and my mom have gone back and forth about this because my mom is like, well, if he grew up with a single mom, then he knows how to treat women. And I'm like, on the same side, like maybe he doesn't
Yeah.
because, he
Yeah.
grew up around a lot of sisters and,
Right.
and mom
Yeah.
and stuff like
Yeah.
that in the house. Maybe his tendencies are gonna probably try to argue with
Absolutely.
you like a girl.
Absolutely.
Like,
Absolutely.
so me and my
Yeah.
mom go back and forth on
Yeah.
that. And
Yeah.
she's
Yeah.
like, oh, you shouldn't close your options to I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah, this is just experience.
I'm gonna send you a clip. I had a clip on this exact topic. I'm gonna send
Oh,
it to
for real.
you.
Right. Hopefully somebody be sending this clip.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. No.
Somebody else.
Absolutely.
Uh
Absolutely.
Joe, for sure. But yeah, so back on like the topic of like divinity. So despite like because I know a lot of things, a lot of energies is like assigned to different genders, which we both have. Everybody has masculine and feminine energies living within them. Like, we can't coexist without one or the other. It's our
Right.
yin and yang. And so I feel like when that gets off balance, that's whenever we have people, tend to have, this kind of tendency or that's kind of tendency
Mm-hmm.
that's kind of out of their quote unquote nature. Again, I don't really want to be super gender heavy because, for obvious reasons. Um, but I just kind of want to get into like what is the essence of like masculinity?
That's good. Love. Believe it or
Okay.
not. Yeah, believe it or not. The essence of maleness and masculinity is love. Because what happens if there's no love there, then it's destruction. Because that's how we're built. We're made to like destroy some stuff, and that's why you don't feel safe around certain men because they're
Mm,
destroyers. And that's why you do feel safe around certain men because you know they'll never do anything to hurt you or they'll protect you from whatever else is going on, and that all stems from love.
mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely.
I saw this one tweet and it was like men want to be called players all day, but nobody wants to be called a predator.
That's pretty good.
Y'all want to be called
Yeah,
hunter and gatherers, but not
that's
predators.
pretty good. That's
And
pretty good.
essentially, a hunter is kind
Yeah.
of a predator.
No, absolutely. I actually see that. I actually see that because when a man sets his sight on something and he wants to get he should look at it as prey. Like even if it's a job or it's a certain lifestyle, if
Hmm.
he looks at it like, yeah, it don't sound like the connotation don't sound too cool, but it makes
Right.
sense. Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of used to be a little derogatory,
Oh, is
just
it?
to, yeah,
I
because
hadn't heard
a
that.
lot of times when the hunting turns to like in a relationship sense, women, we don't really like to feel like the prey.
I see.
We don't really want to feel like we're being preyed upon
Okay.
by predators. But I heard a lot from a lot of my guy friends, like, well, like that's just in our nature. Like we
Yeah.
try to, women are something to kind of. I heard this, but it wasn't. It made me feel icky when it was said. But I was like, ugh, like women are to be like conquered. Like like the more women I have, the better it feels. The more manlier I feel.
So how do y'all want to feel then?
Definitely like equals. I think that's the biggest thing with women is like we want to feel like importantly as equals,
Okay.
but also protected. I think that's if you ask like any woman what is her basic necessities, it all goes back to being protected.
Protected and equal.
Protected and equal,
How do you
yes.
achieve that?
So, and that's the thing. I feel like I feel like when we get into these gender talks,
Mm,
then we start to get into the I feel like what we do is we start to resume build. And we're like, well, women, we can do X, Y, Z, and da 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 better than men. And then men are like, we can do all these things better than women. And women are this and that. And it stops them from doing this. And so we don't really realize that, like, the things that make us different also make us equal, you know? And so, like, I feel like equality is not necessarily we come with the same things, we come equipped naturally with the same things or require the same things. I think we all require opposite things, and those opposite things come together to make a union.
Okay.
Um, yeah.
So let me balance, right?
Mhm.
And let me share what I consider balance. Like we need to be protected too. When
Mhm.
I go out and take care of whatever I need to take care of, I need my wife praying for me and supporting me, and that's a form of protection. Um, when I think about the dynamic between a man and a woman, you're more cherished. So a woman is more cherished. It's the reason
Mhm.
why my life is disposable.
Mhm.
In the event something terrible is about to happen, my life is disposable, and you're more cherished. And so you there's this dynamic that makes us balanced.
Yeah.
A man doesn't like to be equal with anything. That's
Mhm.
just we're talking about men. Just the mindset of that word
Yeah.
equal. Yeah. So we because if if I go, I don't know, if I go compete with this man because I need to bring some food home, I'm doing it for the who I cherish the most.
Mhm.
So him and I can't be a tie. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
One of us got to take this, or we got to come to some sort of an agreement. And so I don't mind the word equal because to me, I just automatically switch it with balance.
Okay.
And I love the balance between men. Like you're saying, the things
Mhm.
that are different about us makes us equal.
Right.
And I see that. Yeah, I see the same thing.
I feel like every time I have these conversations, what always comes full circle to me is kind of like, um, when we remove the gender out of things,
Hmm.
and we realize that we require much of the same thing.
Right. Yes.
Respect goes
Yes.
both ways, and protection goes both ways, and providing goes both ways, and when we take the genders out, and it's just like human to human, it's like, maybe we're not that different,
No,
maybe we're
absolutely not.
just
No.
but why do you think we often clash all the time? And
That's new. The clashing stuff is new, and the reason is because women have become a lot stronger in many more ways than used to. So
mhm,
women are much stronger now, financially, emotionally, and and so now we're in the same space. And whenever you get in the same space, now a man is like, "Hey, I'm territorial. You're over here with us."
mhm,
Um, but if as a man, if you just sit back and listen long enough, you'll see what the ladies are saying.
right,
They're saying we're here, you know,
mhm,
we're here, and this is the way things are right now. And so, with that being said, there's a way to make peace. I was talking to a congregation just this morning about peace as a contract. So
mm,
we got to figure out a way to come back to the table and agree to. You would know a little bit about this. Agree to some terms.
yeah,
You know what I
it's
mean?
a little negotiation.
And if we did that, I think we would go a lot further because we shouldn't be doing all this back and forth stuff.
No, at all. Um, at all. And so it's a little it's a little trying when I feel like I always get into it on like social platforms.
Really?
I'm a very opinionated person. And
Okay.
I don't always scream my opinions from the top of the mountains, but when I do feel strongly about something, like y'all are gonna hear about it. And so on the subject of equality, like one thing that I've been going back and forth with with people is like the WNBA pay and
Oh,
how a
I
lot of men
definitely
don't
want to talk about
feel
this.
like, you know,
I definitely want to talk about this.
yeah. And
Absolutely.
so the biggest argument I've heard is, well, if women aren't as physically adept as men are, if they're not exciting to watch, which is BS. uh, if there are not all these things, then why should they get paid
Hmm.
to a level that NBA players get paid? And I've never been one to say the pay rate should be the same right now
Hmm.
on a business standpoint, because clearly the NBA brings in billions of revenue.
Hmm.
But whenever you're spending billions in advertisement dollars, it's a little easier to attain that
Yeah.
than,
Yeah,
just a
absolutely.
few mil. Um, And so, with this new, like you said, like women are evolving. So, with this new evolution of women, with this new class of women, we're seeing a lot of people get interested into the WNBA because these WNBA players, the young ones, they have so much personality, like the
Hmm.
Angel Reese's and like you know
Right.
the Caitlins. They just have so much star quality to
That's
them
true.
now,
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
where they're actually attracting an audience and selling out season tickets.
Hmm.
Um, so what do you think about that with the equal pay thing?
No, I love it because I love basketball, and I met Cynthia Cooper, and I enjoy the WNBA. Actually, the first professional kind of game I went to was a WNBA game. But it's a few things. The advertisers are responsible
Right.
for how
Exactly.
much these everybody gets paid. And if we just as a people, if we care, it would be to deal with those companies and say, hey, you need to get this person or this person or this person.
Mhm.
That way I enjoy your brand more. And the advertisers are picking up, they are picking up on that because, like you say, Angel Reese has that quality that can garner attention and so on. So Serena Williams,
Yeah.
even though, different sport, but so that's what it's gonna take. The
Mhm.
NBA really can't pay people except for through ticket sales.
Yeah.
So the now as far as ticket sales go, how can we get people to come in here
Right.
to watch WNBA games?
Mhm.
Well, they got to be spectacular talent, and so not just the talent. It's not just the talent. It has a lot to do with the stars.
Shining a light on that talent,
Yeah. Well,
kind of.
yes,
Yeah.
yes. The NBA has done something at least by saying we got to get a league for the
Yeah.
ladies, and so they did that, but they did neglect them in a way.
Right. Major.
They neglected them.
Yeah.
Um, but it's a different. You just got to have a different marketing plan. Don't go with the same marketing plan because
Mhm.
it's slightly different. Go with a different marketing plan, and I guarantee people will come in and watch them.
Right.
Yeah, you
I'm really
going?
liking the traction though. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. You going this?
I'm planning to.
Okay.
Yes, I do want to see. I think Angel Reese goes in May,
Yes.
so I want to see her. She's
Okay.
coming to Dallas.
Okay.
And another thing is the amount of teams too. Like we don't have a WNBA team in Houston. We have
Yeah.
to go to Dallas. Who wants to do that?
When did the comments leave? Because I know we used to, but then
I
they
don't
left.
know. I went to go search up tickets and they were like, "Oh, only Dallas
I
the only
see.
WNBA team we have is Dallas." Cuz I was like, "Now I have to support,
I got you. Yeah.
you know."
I didn't know about that. I'm sorry. I didn't know the comments left. I guess that.
I
Uh,
know. Once I heard about it, I'm like, "Okay, now I have to be a consumer." Like cuz
yeah. No, that's
I
true.
don't even buy NBA tickets.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I was like,
Yeah.
"Now I got to buy WNBA tickets."
But that's the key.
Right.
That's the key. You got to support them if you're
Mhm.
gonna
They were
if you're
sold
gonna say
out
something.
of season tickets because I was like, I had saw on
Mm,
Twitter that they were selling for like ridiculously cheap, and I was like, oh, but they were sold out probably because they were so cheap.
I got you.
But yeah, so um, so yeah, so we touched on the. I hate to say separate but equal. That's so Jim Crow. Like the qualities that we
Yeah.
have that
Right.
are separate but work together. So what do you think is like? Where do you think we went wrong as a society to where we kind of are in this kind of gender war, civil war kind of thing?
It it's always the parents. You know, it's the parents. And when I say parents, I just mean people. Because parents are just people.
Mm-hmm.
We're all just people.
Right.
But just growing up, not really showing this young man, this is how to be a young man, this is how to treat your sister, this is how to, some parents still do this,
Yeah.
but for the most part it's just you just watch these kids grow up.
Mm-hmm. I will say this about the young ones that I've kind of observed is like, well, I feel like each generation kind of raises the consciousness of like, the collective. Like every
Okay.
generation finds something to fight for, I feel
That's true.
like.
Yeah.
Um, and although we call like the where they like Gen Z babies.
Hmm.
We call them very like soft and very this and that. I think they play a really big part in raising the consciousness of the collective by not by standing up for things. I feel like
Yeah,
they're very like
absolutely.
um some people call it PC culture.
Yeah, yeah,
And I kind of agree with it though. Like the not mispronouncing people. I probably did not say that right.
yeah,
But
yeah, yeah.
like, just respecting different people's
The
identities,
way I
period.
identify.
Like that, I feel like they're very good at that. And with
Yeah.
this whole like the Palestine movement and everything, like they're very good at mobilizing and
Hmm.
being vocal.
I agree with that. I agree with that. And it's always going to come with something, once you have something like that. My pronouns actually are us and our and we, So I
Very communal.
yeah,
Very communal.
yeah, absolutely. And because I get it. Somebody who just got to this world, they're saying, "Hey, this is my experience and
Hmm.
I just want you to understand that this is my experience." And there's nothing wrong with that. I get that. And it also leads for them, like you're saying, to fight for certain causes. We got to be able to talk to the young people, and the young people got to be able to talk to the older people. We all have to be able to make sense out of this thing.
Hmm.
I definitely believe that.
So in terms of like this human experience, like I know this podcast is a little random right now just because I wanted to format this like a big conversation. So that's why
No,
we're kind of
absolutely.
jumping.
No, I love it. Love it.
I promise there's a method to the madness. Um, but in terms of like your personal like human experience, like what is something that you're learning right now that you can apply and teach to the collective?
Beautiful. Like I said, my pronouns are we, us, our, and they're acronyms. One United Race. From those who are from the urban struggle, and then also whoever else is with us, and that's really what I'm doing right now. I'm looking at the way society is, and I'm looking at who's last,
Hmm.
like who's last, and I'm saying we gotta figure this out. And one of the ways to figure it out is family.
Yeah.
And then how do we have families if men and women are beefing?
Hmm.
If generations are beefing. So I'm just constantly like my evolution has come from just studying the scriptures and studying mindset and mentalities and growing within myself because I was a troubled teen. Just went through a lot of stuff as in the crime sector and stuff like that, and so now I've evolved to a place where I'm like, okay, I think I get it. I
Mm.
think I get it. What's going on is that we don't love each other.
Yeah.
We don't love ourselves. Because if I love myself, I wouldn't want to kill somebody or talk down on somebody that looks and sounds just like me. Like the people that we're taking out look like us,
Hmm.
sound like us, come from the same areas as us. So that means there's something wrong with us, something wrong with me. So I started to love myself, and in loving myself, I'm able to love my fellow man.
Right.
And I get a good response. When you show love to somebody, I get a good response. It's
Mhm.
one of the reasons, like, talk you up a little bit. One of the
Mhm.
reasons why I'm fond
Oh, thank
of
you.
your platform and all that you've been doing, absolutely, is because of your humility. You had went on a podcast, like I've been following you for a while. You had
Oh,
went on a
thank you.
podcast, I don't remember his name, but um, it was a smaller podcast, and I was like, man, this is cool. How you
Mhm.
went on there, you spoke your mind, you're open in this podcast as well, and I and just I can work with that. Somebody that's
Mhm.
humble,
Yeah.
and a lot of people like in probably people that they don't feel like they have to be like they
Oh,
really,
yeah.
you know what I'm talking
Humility
about.
is lost. I will tell you
Yeah,
that. Like,
yeah,
humility's
yeah,
been lost
yeah,
for a minute.
yeah. And I can almost take anything from somebody that's humble. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I really appreciate humble people. I love y'all. Stay humble. Um,
And you have to be like
yeah,
there's a difference between being humble and not knowing your worth, period.
that's true.
Like I feel like because like you were saying, like loving yourself. First of all, love is the highest frequency, and that's why it fixes everything
Yeah.
because it's the highest. Um and that's why hate is like the lowest.
Right.
um But through the love, like through myself, I am able to vibrate at a level to where I don't feel like I'm lowering myself in any way, sense, and form by communicating with any one individual, because I feel like we're all part of the same collective
Mhm.
energy,
Mhm.
and I feel
Yeah.
like some people see themselves, I'm here, y'all are there,
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
and it's so important to see us all as a, like I keep saying the word collective,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know
Yeah. Absolutely.
and I like to say that because in a collective there shouldn't be a hierarchy. It should more so be we're all assigned tasks that we're better at. It
Mhm.
shouldn't be like I'm better than you so I deserve more than you. It should be I'm good at this so I'm going to do this and you're good at that, and I'm not going to uh shit on you for
Mhm.
being good at what you
Yeah.
do,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
and
Yeah.
it's not more important at all than what I have to do.
Yeah. Yeah.
My mission is not more important than yours,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
vice versa. Yeah.
No, I love it. I love it. Keep doing what you're doing. I think you're gonna go very far.
Thank
Keep
you.
doing what you're doing. 'Cause you respond and just little things like that that everybody don't do. They don't
Thank
feel
you.
like they need to do it or whatever. So hopefully one of the people that you made sure that you took care of will make sure they take care of you.
Right.
Life.
It's all about it, like,
Yeah.
and I'm also like a big learner, and
Hmm.
it's like there's something to learn from everybody.
Yeah.
And I see a lot of I feel like one thing we are suffering from as a society right now is egoism.
Yeah.
And everybody's trying to out ego the next person, and although ego is a protective mechanism, it's running rampant.
That's true.
And so it's a lot of people, I don't want to listen to her podcast because I don't agree with her, or I don't want to
Hmm.
talk to this person or respond to this person because like they may not have as many followers as me, or and this and that. And it's like there's something to be learned in every single situation. I
Yeah.
saw I'm a meme girl. So
Right.
I saw this one meme, and it was like I don't take money advice from people who got less money than me.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it just aggravated my soul to see that, because it's like you never know people's story,
Right.
and so the real sages of the of society realize that I can find wisdom in anybody,
That's beautiful.
you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's like by shutting yourself off to
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
people and to conversations, you're shutting yourself off to knowledge.
That's
Period.
true. That's true. Keep it up. That's you well on track.
Thank you.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I agree. I remember when I was playing basketball, learning how to play basketball, growing up playing basketball. I used to watch a little girl, kind of back to WNBA.
Hmm.
She scored on a little boy. I think they were both like 6, 7 years old, and she scored on a little boy. Now she was excited, and maybe it was luck or whatnot. But I looked at whatever she did, that formula she put together to score,
Hmm.
and I would use it. And I'm
Mm.
playing varsity,
Oh yeah.
and I would use just that concept. So you're right. There's always something to learn from everybody.
Right.
Yeah,
And once we hold too tightly to labels and hierarchies and egoism, then
right.
it's like I can't learn from her because I'm viewing her as beneath me as a girl, and what can a girl teach me about basketball? She's just a girl.
Hmm.
She's not as strong as I am. But if you actually pay attention, and it's like, yeah, like you could learn a lot.
Yeah,
Like
absolutely.
and I get like I'm only 25 and I have my grown friends who come to me for advice, and the only reason why I'm able to do that is because I listen to everybody.
Absolutely. There
I
you
don't
go.
shut my ears off to
There you
anyone.
go.
Um and there's people in situations that I don't want to be in, but I will still listen to them because
Yeah.
they everybody has something to offer.
Where'd you get that from? Like, how'd you learn that?
Um I don't know. I'm really into zodiacs, okay? So
Okay.
so when I speak on zodiacs, I know some people think I'm crazy, but um they say the Sagittarius is like a knowledge seeker.
You're a
And it's
Sagittarius?
yes.
Okay, okay.
So I've always kind of been that way. Like I've always been like I want to know everything.
I see.
I
Yeah.
know that I don't know everything. What was that Socrates said
Yeah,
that? I
yeah,
know
yeah.
enough to know I don't know
Right,
everything.
right, right.
But listening to everybody can give me a lot of knowledge.
That's true. That's
So,
good. That's good. Okay. Yeah, I remember what was that, 2 episodes ago? talking about zodiacs. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
What's your zodiac?
Pisces,
Or Pisces? Okay, cool. Cool, cool.
March.
We talked about Pisces. I saw a lot of Pisces slander.
Yeah, yeah,
It was
we get a
ironically
lot.
like right before we filmed the episode. It was like a lot of I kept seeing on social media a lot of Piscean slander, and all of the Pisces that I've known have
Yeah,
been girls. And I'm like, they're pretty cool, but I've
yeah,
heard some colorful things about you guys.
yeah, yeah.
Like, hey, join the hate club. We
Yeah, I
get
know
a
a
lot
lot
of
of
sad
Pisces. A
hate.
lot of Pisces in my family.
Really.
Yeah, yeah,
One thing I like about Pisces, men that I do encounter, even though I'm not like that close to them, that I do encounter is like there's always like a really chill disposition about
yeah,
y'all.
yeah, yeah.
There's always a
Yeah,
very
you
like,
chilling.
it's Piscean men aren't usually the men who are like screaming for attention.
Oh
To
no,
me,
yeah,
that's respectable.
yeah,
That's respectable to be the observer of the room,
yeah,
for sure.
yeah. I just recently started to look into some of those things. Just recently, there was a young lady preaching on it, and she was saying like it's all in the Bible, like it's all through there.
Yeah.
And I was like, it
You
is all
know,
through
when we talk about that,
there.
like when we
Yeah,
I had heard an astrologer break it down of how they intertwine astrology and religion.
yeah,
I do not remember enough to really break it down to
I
you, but
got you. Yeah,
but if I find the clip, I'll send it.
okay.
But it's just interesting how, like I said, closing your mind off to things and religious people closing their mind off to astrology and
Hmm.
astrology people closing their mind off to spirituality. Like, and
Yeah,
it's when you see the big picture, it's all interconnected,
no, you're right.
you know.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so yes. Um so yeah, so tell us like I do want to hear a bit more like about your podcast as well and like, if I can transfer some of my listeners over to your podcast,
That'd be
like let us
awesome.
know how we can do that.
That'd be awesome. Yeah. So, Big Daddy Energy podcast. We were mostly just streaming on Facebook,
Mhm.
but we have to make a difference and make a little slight change because Facebook is you just you can't really open up.
It's hard to grow with
Yeah, that's
yeah.
true. That's true. But it's my boy Jeff and I. Him and I are very like manly men, very
Mhm.
manly men. But the kind of manly men who understands like real machismo, understands real like the real stuff. Not,
Mhm.
oh, let me show you that I'm tougher
Yeah,
than
like
you. Not that.
false
Yeah,
masculinity,
not that. Yeah. The kind is real cool, make jokes,
Mhm.
chill. And so that's what you'll get out of the Big Daddy Energy podcast. Really just a lot of there's some fun times.
Mhm.
Um there's some like you say you're opinionated, so there's some strong opinions, but we take our time. Like we didn't just jump here because of how we felt
Yeah.
or because somebody else said something and we're trying to hold on to what they said.
Mhm.
Like really just some real things um about the male experience and being Big Daddy. Now, when we say Big Daddy, it's because we really believe that if a man really puts himself to work, really works on himself, guts himself, looks at all his weaknesses, he should be able to achieve whatever he wants.
Yeah.
So we want everybody to be able to Big Daddy their situation, Big Daddy um, their job, like build a
Mhm.
business if that's what it takes. Um,
And I will say this, as much as we like to discourse on, in our communities about like what women aren't doing anymore and how they're not acting anymore. I feel like when men carry big daddy energy, like strong women, strong women will recognize that and be like, yeah, okay, like I'm ready to follow somebody's lead, you
mm,
know? And it's not like a loud like
yeah, yeah,
machismo
yeah,
kind of
yeah,
thing. And it's kind of like, when you are genuinely like an alpha male, I feel like alpha women recognize that,
yeah,
which is
yeah,
another thing going back to the little gender wars that I feel like uh is it's recognized.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I hope y'all heard that, man. Y'all hear that?
Yeah,
You
it's
hear
always, oh, women don't want to lead anymore. Like,
that?
have you ever met a strong woman? All my friends are strong women, and the ones who are actually like their counterpart is a divine masculine, is alpha male,
Yeah.
like, oh, those women have no problem.
No, that's
Like,
true. That's true. As a matter of fact, when speaking about a strong woman, if I may,
hmm
you become strong because of what you went through. You just been through so many things that you had no choice but to become stronger. Hard times make tough people.
yeah.
And if a man can recognize, like, okay, this is here's a situation. This person has been through a lot, and I have too,
hmm
because there's no way a man can be a strong, understanding man unless he's been through a lot. So let's work this thing out.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Let's work this thing out. If me as a strong man meets a woman who's strong, I recognize that she has her strength and we can use that. Let's use that. And let's
hmm
direct her. Let's direct this thing so that we can get as far as possible. Because that's the thing. Let's get as far as possible. And a woman that can run fast and a man that can run fast should get there faster. That's
hmm
just it. So let's use our strengths towards building for others. Because if you're strong, you're not just strong for yourself. You know that.
Yeah.
You're strong, and God has made you strong for so many other people. So now, not only did we get there faster, but we can help people as well. Rosa Parks is it not Rosa Parks, Underground Railroad. Who am I thinking?
Harriet Tubman.
Harriet Tubman. Thank you. That looks bad on
No, no,
me.
it's
Now, Harriet Tubman was married. She was
yeah,
married. And a lot of people don't know that,
yeah.
but she was. And so, those two people believing, hey, it's possible. You don't have to be afraid. And even if you are afraid, like, we know where to go, we know what to do. Um, yeah. So,
I feel like, just being a strong woman and navigating the dating world and everything. One thing that you do run into as a strong woman is, like, I feel like a lot of men feel like my place, so I'm speaking in male language. My
okay.
place is to lead, until they meet a strong woman and they don't really think that they're smarter than her or more experienced than her or anything else. And so they find themselves like coming to grips like, oh, this is a great catch, but what can I do to make her want to like submit. I hate to say that word,
Mm-hmm.
submit.
No, I hear you.
It's
I hear
like, I
you.
mean, we submit to each other, men and women equally, but how can I be the boss of this relationship? And so it kind of feel like the dark side of leadership, um, is destruction as well. Like, let me tear her down so that way I can be a little higher, so that way I can have the upper
Oh, I
hand
see.
and lead her
I see.
if I'm a little higher than her.
Yeah, no, I've seen that before. I want for men to realize that some of these women, some of them are actually in greater. They're actually above you, and you probably should look for somebody that you can be compatible with,
Right.
because that's just the truth of the matter.
Like,
Um,
imagine if what's his name? Is his name Stedman?
hmm
Imagine if Stedman was competing with Oprah to be Oprah. Like,
right, right,
Oprah
right.
wouldn't be able to be the billionaire that she is
hmm
if she had somebody trying to snuff out her light because I have to be the breadwinner of this relationship, you know?
I see what you're saying. They're not married, are they?
Nah. Oprah's a businesswoman,
No,
man.
I get it. I get it. I get it. Nah, because she's greater than Stedman, and for
I mean, we don't. I mean, I hate to say somebody's better than somebody because they make more. Because we really don't hear about Stedman, but that's why, like, I hate to idolize celebrity relationships because we don't know these people,
yeah,
but from the outside looking in, it seems like a pretty decent relationship. It's been long lasting and he doesn't speak. Like
yeah.
he doesn't want his own star power.
hmm
Like his partner does. So I feel like sometimes it's better for one of the partners to take a back seat and let the other one do what they do best
Yeah,
and then be the support that they need, you know?
no, absolutely. That's why I didn't say better. I said greater. She's greater.
Fair.
Like
Yeah.
she's a bigger star than he is.
Yeah.
She commands a little bit more attention than he would, and it's beautiful because there has to be an Oprah, right?
Right.
Okay, and so if what works for him and what works for her is what they have, It's
Mhm.
beautiful because I'd
Right.
rather that than um, people just not being fulfilled. Like if that can fulfill the both of them, I'm okay with that. But some men who feel like they have to get out and lead,
Yeah.
but the person that they're getting out to lead is somebody that's on a different level. Like that's a different level. Say,
Yeah.
you might, that's kind of what Kevin Samuels was trying to say, but in reverse. But actually, both ways.
Mhm.
Actually, both ways. You're looking to lead a woman, but you're not ready. Not for her.
Mm. Yeah.
So men need to get ready. Um, and then the women who are strong and doing really well, just understand that the men that y'all are gonna be interested in, there's all the other women are interested in that man.
Yeah.
So that's that's how that works.
You know,
That's how that works.
um, I think it's yeah, it just all boils down as to like what works, and like I said, I always say opposites attract, and it's you find your puzzle pieces,
Yeah,
um, and so when we do have all women idolizing one kind of man, of
yeah,
course, the man feels like he can have 20
yeah, yeah,
women.
yeah.
They feel like he feels like
Absolutely,
he's the prize now.
absolutely.
Um, there's so much to say about this,
Hmm.
but
Yeah.
for the sake of time,
Okay.
but yes, like I would like to have you, maybe on another conversation with this because I feel like this is something we can, go on and on and on
Awesome.
about.
Awesome. Yeah.
But yes, like I want to thank you so much for coming on the show, and again, let my audience know how they can find you.
Okay. So look for Big Daddy Energy podcast on YouTube because we're on YouTube. Then also Facebook, and then Big Daddy Energy is Big Daddy Everything is the company. So with men, listen, everything that you want to be able to achieve and be and have, anything that you like to enlarge, all those things are possible with Big Daddy Everything. That's why we say Big Daddy Everything.
Okay, on that note, thank you so much for being our guest today.
For having me.
And thank you guys again for tuning in to this episode of the Healing Hour podcast. As I say, for this season, we're doing a new thing where we're opening up the floor to donations for mental health initiatives. And yeah, so we're just trying to be impactful this season. The first season was very much so trial run. It was giving baby project. And with this new season, I really want us to go out there and actually start making tangible change. So thank you so much. And that was this episode of the Healing Hour. Bye.